Well, hey there, church. Good afternoon. It's Pastor Luke coming to you with our midweek devotional. And I've had the wonderful opportunity, as I'm sure many of you have as well, in the midst of this time of social distancing where we are indoors and kind of on our own for much of the time, we get to go outside and explore a little bit more of nature than otherwise we may have been used to. And one of the beautiful things I think about springtime right now is that you get to get out there and you get to hear and see parts of God that are not necessarily revealed during other seasons of the year. There's something about the order and the beauty of creation that is always there, and we see this in Psalm 19 where it talks about the heavens declaring the glory of the Lord, and we can see this kind of in every season. The winter time, we can say that this is beautiful because of the snowy mountain peaks, or maybe the fall time, the leaves are changing, and the summer is beautiful because it's warm and sunny and all that. But there's something about the springtime that reveals a different part of God to us, because in the springtime, God is not just making beautiful things, but He is actually bringing life out of a season of death. And in the wintertime, when everything is barren and the snow is covering the ground, the leaves are all off the trees. You don't see as many animals around, maybe necessarily. And then spring comes, and you start to see buds of flowers, and you start to see the green coming up, and you start to see even those pesky dandelions are signs that God is doing something different and something new and something wonderful, and that He is bringing life out of death. And today I'm going to bring you a short devotional from the story which we are walking through, and today is the last chapter of the story. This is chapter 31, and we're going to be in the book of Revelation. So let me read just this passage from Revelation 21, verses 1 through 5. This is the Apostle John talking. He says, "Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and there was no longer any sea. I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride beautifully dressed for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, 'Look, God's dwelling is now among the people, and He will dwell with them. They shall be His people, and God Himself will be with them and be their God. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death, or mourning, or crying, or pain, for the old order of things has passed away.' He who was seated on the throne said, 'I am making everything new.'" God is making everything new. And as we get to the end of the story and we see how it actually ends right where it began, which is in a garden, and we are reminded that God is in the business of restoring things. God is not in the business of making junk. He doesn't make a bad creation and then decide, well, I'm just gonna leave that, and then I'm gonna take all of these souls with me away into heaven so we can float around in the clouds. And this is sometimes the vision we have of heaven, but what the scriptures talk about is actually heaven coming to earth. The new Jerusalem, the new heavens and the new earth. Is going to be a new earth restored from its brokenness. And so every blade of grass will be greener. Every drop of water will look clearer. Every part of this world that we just get kind of a glimpse of through a mirror darkly here now is going to be fully and completely restored. And God is in the business of resurrecting and redeeming the world and us in the midst of our brokenness. And I know in the midst of this season of the coronavirus, many of us had hopes and we had dreams and we had wishes that we thought were going to be fulfilled. Pre-corona, we were making plans. We were thinking, I'm going to do this the next day, and I'm going to take this trip, and we're going to go with Grandma here. And now, post-coronavirus, for many of us, those hopes and those dreams have kind of taken a downhill slide. And it's easy to think that in the midst of this season of barrenness and of darkness, like this is it. And it's hard to see beyond that. Just like in the midst of the winter time, you can't see anything beneath the snow. But the promise that we have here is of a God who is in the process of making everything new. And He is a God of resurrection, and He is a God of redemption. And even though your hopes may just be in the dirt right now, God is a God who is going to resurrect those hopes. He resurrects our hope, and He brings life and fullness and abundance into and out of the season of barrenness and brokenness that we are walking through right now. And so just this wonderful promise that we have, and I hope that that gives you comfort too, that the God who restores His lost and broken creation is going to resurrect your hope today as well. Blessings on the rest of your week, and I look forward to seeing you before long.